trade agreement. I'm choosing to call it that because the letters just don't roll off the tongue properly for me. But within the intra-African trade deal, we're seeing other creatives who take matters into their own hands. We have in our presence David Akwara, who's running a project called The Rise, and its aim is to educate creatives and everyone across the continent about the intra-African trade deal. David, tell us more about The Rise.
So before I'll tell you about The Rise, I have to appreciate the beautiful ladies I'm seated with. You know, it's the diversity, it's just, wow, thank you. So I'm going to pick up from where my sister talked about leaving nobody behind. The essence why we took up the baton to tell stories around the implementation of the AfCFTA was because we have realized that there has been different agreements that have been written at different times, but there has been lack of implementation. And I believe that we as creatives, we have a responsibility to hold policy makers accountable. So I decided that when the agreement was launched in 2021, in January 1st, I decided that I would go on the road in April. That's 3 months after the launch. I want to find out what is the reality on the ground. So that was what really pushed me into this process. And the key thing that I've realized is that on the continent, there's really lack of education. So if I further buttress what my sister talked about education, we wanted to bridge the knowledge gap between SMEs and policymakers. There is this, there's something that one of my friends said, I have to quote her. Some of the policymakers have never exported anything from their countries. They have never. So how would they write a policy that would capture the woman who is in Lomé, or a flower border between Ghana and Togo? So I think that as a creative, we decided that we want to bring these stories to the front. Sorry for my, right? So that the policymaker will see the reality of what is going on. So that's why we are constantly on this project, and we have done West Africa. By the way, by October, the film will screen in Silicon Valley, where there'll be a gathering of Africans in diaspora, and they will see what is going on the continent, because we want to reassure them that there's a future in the continent. And as an individual, I believe that the AfCFTA is the solution to Africans' financial independence. So we want people to be gathered and watch our movie and go home and start talking about the AfCFTA. And then the AfCFTA Secretariat and everybody involved, we know that there's a lot of eyes on you. So we're using film to create awareness. Thank you.
Fantastic. Round of applause for David Akwara, the filmmaker from Nigeria.